Good morning and welcome back to the allotment, where when I woke up this morning and took the dog out for a walk, it was quite chilly. Bright, but a little bit chilly. I had to put the neck warmer on, but it's off now. I've got a fire going, and I'm just going to have a look at these cara potatoes and see how they're doing, and see whether or not I can leave them in for probably just another week or so, when I can take them out. As you can see, they look quite green still. Let's have a look. Well, if those are anything to go by, it looks like it's going to be a decent crop. Not much wireworm damage or anything. So I'm going to take a couple up home today. Again, look at the size of that. So that looks like one plant. Now I think I've got 14 in there, so if that's anything to go by, I'm not too disappointed with those. Nice big jacket potatoes there. Right, I'm going to get one more out, and then I'm going to take you up and show you what we've been doing on the site. As I've said before, I might just bob you in and out of the different things that we're looking to hopefully achieve on the allotment site for the benefit of all the plot holders. As I've said before, I've got to be very wary that other plot holders that might not want to be filmed, and obviously not to show anything that's security sensitive. So it will just be general work that we carry out and the reasons why. So let me get this excuse me, let me get this last plant up here and we'll crack on. Seems very firm down here. I'll get these up and I'll show you them once they're up. There we go. That's a couple of plants, is that? And hopefully the rest will be like that as well. Right, let's have a walk in this lovely sunshine. Before we set off, just thought I'd show you Graham, one of the plot holders, kindly gave me some wallflowers that he has grown from seed, and I thought that'll be a welcome splash of colour in the spring and a lovely scent as we walk past. So I planted those in there. Hopefully with the rain that we've had over these last couple of days, the roots should set and they should start to sit up a little bit. Right, let's go for a wander. Yeah, so I had a chat with the rest of the committee, and there are one or two sort of priority jobs that we've got to look at. Sorry about that, son. Put you this way. Is obviously going to be a couple of, well, probably about a month to 6 weeks of being able to sort of take over properly. Got to sort of like do the handover of the bank accounts and things like that. But what we're hoping is that can run smoothly, and I'm just looking at something there. That can run smoothly and we can get cracking in this off season in the winter, when hopefully people have put the plots to bed and they'll be willing to give us a hand. It's very sunny. So now we're coming up to the first bend in the track, and we're just off the main road. You'll be able to hear the traffic, but this entrance point here is very, very tight. It might look quite big on camera, but for emergency vehicles it really is tight. If I remember, it was probably about a year ago, maybe just over, down by where my van is. I don't know if some of the subscribers remember, but somebody's shed set on fire, and we're quite close to a factory here early one morning, and the fire engines came down and they came in, sorted it out. I think it were around about 7:15, and as it finished, they came up this track and then tried to leave, and it took them literally 20-25 minutes to clear branches and maneuver themselves around this bend so that it could get up to the entrance gate, which is up there. So I think as part of your responsibilities as a council, as part of the lease agreement, all accesses to emergency vehicles, that sort of thing, are all within that. And God forbid if anything happened to a plot holder and an ambulance had to come down this track and were delayed for any reason. So that's going to be one of the first things that we're going to do. So this plot here, we're just going to shave off a little bit of this plot. So this fence here, we're going to run it tight up to where that tree is. Unfortunately, we might have to prune that tree back quite hard, but then just widen the swing so that any vehicles can come in. This tree, luckily enough, there's nobody on this plot. This tree is falling over. It's an old tree, so we're going to have to take that out because that literally is hanging over the track. So that's one of the first jobs that we're going to do. But rather than start there, I'll take you up and show you where we have started. So here we are back at the entry gate, and as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of epicormic growth coming off these trees, and it literally becomes a litter trap, but also it encloses the allotment. Now, I suppose in an ideal world that'd be great, but we suffer with a hell of a lot of vandalism, break-ins, that sort of thing, and having taken some advice, people have said that, you need to open up the site so that at least if people are passing by, they can peek through and they can see what's going on. So the plan is to take all this epicormic growth back. We're losing probably about 4 meters of parking down there, so eventually we're going to get this all down in, and what we'll probably do is we'll either see what the cost of a hire for a shredder is, or we'll burn it on bonfire night. But we have started that process. We've started it up here. Look at my shadow, look, 18 feet tall. So as you can see here now, this was exactly the same as there, completely overgrown. We've opened it up and we've started this side because basically we've got this container here, we've got the meeting room down at the bottom, and what this does is it allows people to see through the site. And I know it's an allotment, because I bet there's people, the amount of abuse I get when I pull in at that gate, because I've got to cross the cycle track and the van's sticking out into the road, and the amount of horns that get papped at me. And they must be wondering what I'm doing, but they may not know that this is an allotment site. So now you can see right down through the site, and we've done this over a couple of days. So it's not a bad start. We've got all this down here, and we finished just there, and we're going to probably do a little bit more today, and then hopefully once we've finished this side, we're going to look to do the side that I've just showed you. Back up at the top of that track, and then over and down where I've just taken you, that's where the manure pile is. So it's a bit of a trek for people on this side of the plot. So what we're looking to do, hopefully, is do something in this area here, whereby we can include a manure pile. And what we'll try to do, because behind this fence, there's probably about 10 metres back to that wall. So we're looking to strip these raspberries back, and maybe extend this car park further out, but hopefully try to get a manure pile of some kind in this corner. We've already spoken to this plot holder here, and she's happy to move her shed. Well, we're talking to her, we're hoping that she'll move, we can move her shed for her. I mean, we'll build it for her if we're going to take it down, but it's just as you're coming around that corner, it's the first thing you meet. So yeah, try and increase this car park, get a manure pile there. So we've got a manure pile on either corner at this end of the plot, and then right down at the bottom of that track there in the corner to the right, try and get one there, and it will be the same in the other corner. Just so that you're not having to trek miles and miles and miles. But one of the issues was, again, access. Because these bends are so tight, it's been difficult for them to come round with a tractor and trailer. So if a tractor and trailer can't get round, an ambulance, a fire engine can't either. So we're going to sort those. All four corners are going to get sorted out. Then hopefully we can get some manure in there. This part, opposite, this is mixed plot here. Opposite mixed plot. This has never been used since I came on site, so it's years. So what we're going to look to do is get some of these seedling trees out of that sycamore. That's got to go, and we're going to clear this whole area. There's a big mound there, and what we're going to do is trim this back. All these prunings are what we've taken from the top road that I just showed you up there. So all these are going to get mashed down into a pile, and then we're going to have a bonfire, which hopefully will clear quite a lot of the space for us. And then we're going to get in there and clear that whole space. It goes all the way up here. And what we're wanting to put on there is this, raised beds. Now, these were put in many moons ago. I think Norman was involved with this project. Raised beds, just using normal kicker boards and intermediate posts and corner posts, and we're hoping to put 5 of these in that space. Now, I've already been talking to someone with regards to some funding towards it, because these are ideal for people with disabilities, for elderly people, we have got some people that have not been able to manage their plots anymore because, you know, they're just physically too demanding for them. They're too big, and we've got another 3 over there as well, and what they do is they move from there onto one of these where it's a lot easier for them to manage. So I think we need more of these, and we've got that spare land over there, so we're looking to see if we can get some funding to do that, and then if we do, we will hopefully make use of that land rather than it just being a wasteland. These have been here for some time and really could do with some soil in them. They've sunk, so that might be something we look at if we get the funding to do that project over there. Right, I'm continuing to strip back these tomatoes. As you can see, particularly the ones on the back row, they've gone over, but I'm still getting some very nice golden sunrise, so I'll pass them out to the neighbours if they want them. I don't know whether or not I'll grow this variety again. This year's been really good for tomatoes, particularly outdoor tomatoes, but these became very soft, very quick, and they split. So I might have to look at maybe a different variety. Well, that's taken some doing, best part of an hour, getting those picked, and no doubt I'm going to have quite a lot of seedlings coming up in this bed over the next month and maybe into the beginning of spring next year, but it's been well worth it. Let me show you what I've harvested. There we go, so we've got the golden sunrise there, and we've got quite a few Roma at the front end of this, and then I think they're Gardener's Delight at the end, and then the green tomatoes, which I'll be making some chutney again. Margaret, my plot neighbour just at this side, is going to bring me the recipe again, and we'll make some chutneys with those, and those will go for the sauces. I have already harvested quite a lot of green tomatoes and a few red for a friend that does, she makes chutneys and jams and all sorts of different things for Meanwood Urban Valley Farm, which is a farm, a city farm that school children from all over the city can access, and it's a really good charity, and it's a brilliant visitor attraction. So I'll leave a link to that in the comments, and if you want you can take a look at it, but you wouldn't believe that a farm could be in the city, in the centre of Leeds, so it's worth a view. Right, better get tidied up a bit and get this green waste on the fire. So clean as you go, that's what I say, clean as you go. Thank you very much to those subscribers that gave me the information on the squash. I'm hoping that the leaves survive. They look as though they've got a little bit of powdery mildew on them, so I'm hoping that I can leave them to go that creamy colour, as I've been told. And I think I'm going to take this crookneck plant out because, God, it's so prickly. I don't think that we need it anymore. There's still a small crookneck on there, but I'm all crooknecked out. Look at these. Look like ducks, don't they? Right, so got to find a home for these now. As you can see underneath there's quite a lot of weed, but we'll get to it now. What I think that's left now is purely all squash, butternut squash. I think there's around about 8, so I'll tidy around that bed. There's one there. Yeah, I'll tidy around that bed and get all the weeds out that I can, and then try and just get all this green growth onto the path so it stays clean. But it's that time of year where it's all about tidying up. So I'm back at the compost pile, as you do, and you can see how this manure helps to start and rot everything down. So I've collected everything as I usually do in the dustbin. Spread it out. Chop it up into. Now what I think I'm going to do, eventually, not just yet, there's probably a couple of more fillings to do yet, but what I'm going to do is probably put another few loads in, and then I'm going to turn it into this bay that the camera's on, and then I'm just going to leave that all winter. It won't get turned again, and then I'll start filling this one. So hopefully next season this bay will be ready to use, and as I use it along on the plot and everything, this one will be cooking and I can use that a bit later on. So that's the plan. I mean, you've got to have a plan. Whether it works or not, two different things, isn't it? Let's spread that out. I'll do the same again. I'll let this sit down a bit. I'll get some more manure on, and then I'll leave it for a week or two, and then I'll turn it into there. First of all, let's get these on. That's Mick, you can hear in the background with the chainsaw. After this I'm going to put a brew on, and then we're going to get a fire going at the side to burn all the offcuts from the trees that we took down on the lane. But we'll have to have a cup of char first. Been down since just before 7 I got down here, and ow, gosh, they're so prickly. Oh, I don't like wearing gloves, that's the only thing. Got down about 7, nobody on site, and the weather's set to stay fair until about 2 o'clock. So I want to get as much done as I can so I can get home and get my feet up, watch a bit of football. Leeds were beaten last knockings yesterday by Fulham, which I think they were unlucky, but hopefully they keep just building on that. They can finish towards mid-table, maybe just slightly below. They've just got to make Ellen Road a fortress. Right guys, I'm going to get a brew on. Because everybody needs a rest sometime. We've had us brew, so now we're just getting rid of all this brash that we've got, but we're just going to pile a load on and then we're going to go up there and continue down the lane, trying to clean it and open it all up. So every now and then when I come down, I'll just throw a little bit more on, and slowly but surely this whole area will get cleared, and fingers crossed we can put it to some good use. What do you say, Mick?
Yeah.
I say hopefully we'll get it cleared,
yeah,
and we can put it to some good use.
Yeah, this is definitely, this area needs to be, it's been a lost area for a while.
A long time. We've got to get a lot of these trees down as well. You can see them, these just all self-seeders. But yeah, we'll crack on. So that brings us to the end of another video. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, all your likes. Thank you very much for your comments and all your advice. It really is truly appreciated. I'd like to give a shout out to Kerry, whose husband I saw in my local Asda. Hi Kerry, and thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you're watching this and you've not subscribed, then please hit the subscribe button. There's going to be more interesting content coming in the future on my allotment, and hopefully how we improve the site. So if that's the sort of thing you're down for, come along for the journey. I'm Mal, known as the Veg Plot Man, and I'd like to see you next week on the next one. Take care and happy growing.